Nearly 2 million people were studied, across 44 different research cohorts, in countries spanning 4 continents, and the question they were all trying to answer was one of the most ordinary questions in human behavior. Is taking a nap during the day good for you? The answer, it turns out, depends almost entirely on one thing: how long you sleep. Before we go any further, because this is Curious and Verified, here are the sources. The first is a meta-analysis published in Sleep Medicine Reviews in 2024, examining 44 cohort studies with nearly 1.9 million participants on habitual daytime napping and health outcomes. The second is an umbrella review, a review of reviews published in Public Health Reviews, synthesizing 16 meta-analyses covering 244 health-related outcomes related to napping. Both links are in the description. Everything in this video comes directly from these 2 papers. Now, let's get into it. Napping is one of the most widely practiced behaviors in the world. It is embedded in the culture of Southern Europe, Latin America, and parts of Asia. It is increasingly discussed in workplace health literature, and it sits at the intersection of 2 things most people feel strongly about: the desire to rest, and the anxiety that resting during the day somehow signals something is wrong. The scientific picture has, until recently, been inconsistent. Some studies suggested napping was protective against cardiovascular disease. Others linked it to higher mortality. Still others found cognitive benefits, and others found cognitive decline. How is it possible for the same behavior to produce such contradictory findings? The 2024 meta-analysis suggests the answer is duration. And once you account for duration, the picture becomes considerably clearer. The 2024 Sleep Medicine Reviews. Meta-analysis included 44 cohort studies involving 1,864,274 participants with a mean age of 56.4 years. The researchers examined napping in relation to multiple outcomes, including all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, cancer, cognitive impairment, and sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. The overall findings were, on the surface, mixed. Habitual napping was associated with increased risks of all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, and cancer. But it was also associated with decreased risk of cognitive impairment and decreased risk of sarcopenia. So napping appears to be simultaneously associated with harm in some areas and benefit in others. How do we make sense of that? The answer emerges when you look at duration. The meta-analysis found a clear pattern. Napping for less than 30 minutes was not associated with significant risks. No meaningful increase in mortality. No meaningful increase in cardiovascular disease. But napping for 30 minutes or more changed the picture substantially. And napping for 60 minutes or more was linked to a 1.22-fold higher risk of overall mortality and a 1.37-fold higher risk of cardiovascular disease compared to non-nappers. The umbrella review reinforced this finding from a different angle. Napping for more than 60 minutes was associated with a 30% higher risk of coronary heart disease and a 20% increased risk of both diabetes and obesity. These are not trivial numbers. They are consistent across multiple large studies. But here is where the research becomes genuinely interesting, because shorter naps, specifically in the range of 20 to 30 minutes, told a very different story. The umbrella review found that napping for less than 60 minutes maximized cognitive enhancement, with a standardized mean difference of 0.69, which in practical terms means a meaningful improvement in cognitive performance. 20 to 30-minute naps were also found to improve athletic performance and physical recovery, particularly in individuals who were sleep-deprived. And the umbrella review concluded that naps under 60 minutes minimized the risk of all-cause mortality and chronic disease, while preserving the cognitive and physical benefits. The distinction between a 25-minute nap and a 75-minute nap appears, in the data, to be significant. Why might longer naps carry greater risk? Both studies point to several proposed mechanisms. Longer naps are more likely to include deep sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep. Waking from slow-wave sleep produces a phenomenon called sleep inertia, a period of grogginess and impaired function that can persist for 20 to 30 minutes after waking. Longer naps also interfere more substantially with nocturnal sleep. They reduce the homeostatic sleep pressure, the biological drive that accumulates during waking hours and promotes nighttime sleep. When that pressure is reduced by a long nap, Nighttime sleep may be shorter, more fragmented, or delayed. And there is a third consideration. The 2024 meta-analysis noted that frequent long napping may not be an independent cause of poor health outcomes, but rather a marker of them. People who take long daytime naps may do so because they are sleeping poorly at night, due to pain, illness, medication, or undiagnosed sleep disorders. In that case, long napping would be a signal of underlying health problems, not a cause of them. Now, a critical eye. Both studies are observational in nature. They describe associations. They cannot establish causation. The 2024 meta-analysis included studies that measured napping through self-reported questionnaires. Self-reported sleep data has well-documented limitations. People often misremember how long they napped or conflate habitual napping with occasional resting. The studies also varied considerably in how they defined napping. Some used 30 minutes as a threshold, others used 60 minutes. This inconsistency makes precise comparisons difficult. Additionally, the majority of studies in the meta-analysis were conducted in older adult populations with a mean age of 56.4 years. Whether these findings apply equally to younger adults, adolescents, or shift workers remains an open question. And the Umbrella Review acknowledged that the evidence quality across many of the included meta-analyses was moderate. Not all findings should be treated with equal confidence. So what does this research actually tell us? It tells us that napping is not simply good or bad. It is duration dependent. Short naps, under 30 minutes and ideally in the 20-minute range, appear to offer cognitive and physical benefits with no significant association with adverse health outcomes. Longer naps, particularly those exceeding 60 minutes, are consistently associated with higher risks across multiple health outcomes. Whether those risks are caused by long napping itself or reflect the underlying health conditions that drive people to nap longer is a question the research has not yet resolved. What both studies agree on is this: if you nap, duration matters more than almost any other factor. Let's bring this back to where we started. Nearly 2 million people, across 44 studies, were examined for the health effects of napping. The data does not say napping is harmful, and it does not say napping is beneficial. It says the answer depends on duration, and that the line between benefit and risk may fall somewhere around 30 minutes. The research leaves one question worth sitting with. In a world where sleep deprivation is widespread, and where the pressure to stay productive rarely pauses, are we napping because our bodies need rest, or because something in our health is already asking for attention? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Both studies are linked in the description, peer-reviewed, and published in Sleep Medicine Reviews and Public Health Reviews. As always on this channel, the source comes first. Subscribe if you want more, and we will see you in the next one.